After I emerged from the waters of the Jordan, I didn't seek out crowds or chase after palaces. I followed the Spirit to where the land turns into a line and the wind holds memories. I went into the desert to obey, not to prove myself. There, everything excessive dies, and what sustains endures. I fasted. I counted faithfulness, not days. Hunger tried to impose urgency as law. Thirst spoke to me like a polite stranger. I placed both under the word. I belong to the Father, and I walked. By day, I saw the air twist the horizon. The dunes looked like quiet serpents. At night, the cold sliced through like a blade and reminded the body that it's dust. I listened to the sound of fabric in the wind, grains of sand scraping leather, my steady breathing. When the 40th day arrived, I noticed the silence change texture. The desert warns when it's about to be interrupted. I smelled it first, the scent of stone fresh out of shadow. Then I heard the click of a nail scratching rock, rhythmic, like a metronome of intent. I turned at just the right moment. I saw digitigrade feet landing soundlessly, sand yielding like it was giving way. I saw deep red skin with dark obsidian cracks. I saw horns curved back, brittle bone texture. I saw amber eyes with ember light. The heat around him warped the air, distorting the horizon. He acted like he owned the place. Satan assessed me like someone who wants to use a tool. I didn't rush. I let him speak. He spoke without raising his tone, and I heard two layers in his voice. The main one, deep and controlled, and a shadow delayed by a breath, like a trapped echo. He said,
"If you are truly the Son of God, then tell these stones to transform into bread, right now."
Hunger heard its name and rushed in. He drummed the rock with his black nails, like he was setting the rhythm for my stomach. I didn't argue with hunger. I put it in its proper place. I looked at the stone. I looked at myself. I looked at the Father, and I responded as I chose to live. It is written, "Man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." When I said, "It is written," the wind reversed for a second and swept the dust from my face. His smile stiffened on one side. There was no anger. There was calculation. Narcissism shifts arguments when it meets a wall that won't give. I didn't leave the desert. I changed the scale of the scene. I climbed to a natural parapet. The void whistled from below. He kept a distance of about 6 feet, posing like a portrait, chin slightly raised. The backlight outlined his horns. He spoke with the didactics of a showy professor, quoting scripture to seem caring and hint at spectacle. He said, "It is written,
He will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against any stone. Throw yourself down from here."
The text was real, the stitching crooked. I didn't come to turn scripture into a stage. I looked at the abyss, demanding a show, heard the sleeping city in small embers, and responded, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." At the end of my sentence, the light behind his horns went out for a second, and the sky stopped outlining his figure. He adjusted his shoulder like someone straightening a tie. Cold, calculating, arrogant, without volume. I didn't fill the air with speeches. I anchored the air in truth. Then, I chose the night. I walked to the plain of salt and gravel where the ground cracks underfoot. I stopped. He came in a semicircle, always without touching. Mirage rose around. Miniature cities, open doors without crosses, polished crowns without wounds. He presented his bargain without haste. With the tone of someone drafting a contract, he said,
All this I will give you if you bow down and worship me.
He didn't ask for affection. He demanded formality. The arrogant love public ritual more than intimate truth. I didn't look at the crowns. I examined the price. The shortcut reveals the owner of the road. I raised my hand. I felt the dust stuck to my finger. I let the desert hold its breath by a thread, and I snapped my fingers dry, discreet, intimate. In that instant, I saw the heat around him falter. The air stopped warping. The backlight, outlining his horns, went out for a second. The amber in his eyes withered to dead amber. The cracks in his skin lost their ember glow. He lost a height, not measured in inches, but in pride. Borrowed authority is returned when truth demands it. I took a step. The wind turned. The sand retreated from my feet, forming a ring, and the ground ahead gave a fine crack. He didn't lose his mask. He readjusted the tally. I recognized that coldness, the kind that turns defeat into a future agenda. And then I approached at super speed. The world felt it like a cut in the frame. The wind recoiled half a step, and the distance between us was ripped away at once. I didn't need to touch. I just needed to decide. My shadow covered his, and the heat surrounding him extinguished like a candle in reverse. I let the sand rise to his neck like a collar of dust, not a hand, but the weight of the world obeying the word. I saw his knee bend a minimal angle, reflex, not devotion. The electric hum that accompanied his presence vanished. Then I spoke. Get behind me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Now, get out of my sight.
That is impossible. How? That power! I absolutely do not accept it, not at all.
I didn't yell. Authority doesn't need volume. His body recoiled half a step, obeying laws his mouth denies. Without a stage, arrogance turns into common shadow. Calculating coldness doesn't throw a fit. It leaves like someone signing a receipt and promising to return at another time, another weariness, other words. I know that promise. The accuser isn't omnipresent. He's insistent, and insistence isn't dominion. I remained. I let the night breathe. The stars became sharp. I didn't call trumpets. I accepted care. Angels arrived as outlines of light and served me. They brought water. The clay sang softly when it received the liquid. I drank. I didn't make bread from stone. I fed obedience with the word. I didn't jump from the parapet. I proved the Father's faithfulness by walking on the ground. I didn't buy crowns. I kept the kingdom in the right place, in the Father's will. I looked at my hands, dust and quiet. It was enough. I left the desert the same way I entered, led by the Spirit. I didn't take stone bread, applause, or borrowed crowns. I took direction and certainty. Behind me, the sand was smooth, as if brushed when the word organizes the world. Even the dust finds its place. If today your deserts offer you the same sequence, Hunger, demanding a shortcut. Abyss, demanding a show. Power, demanding a knee. Do what I did. Don't negotiate your hunger. Put it under the word. Don't turn scripture into a stage. Guard it as a covenant. Don't sell your worship for formality. Reserve it for the Father. If you need to mark, with a minimal gesture, that the lie has lost the right to warp the air around you, snap your fingers as a memory of the decision. And speak not to yell, but to align the world. It is written. When it's time to close the chapter, don't prolong the conversation with the shadow. Give the command I gave. Get behind me. I walked toward Galilee with the same peace I entered the silence with. I didn't need to prove who I was to the desert, to hunger, to the abyss, or to the crowns. I lived who I am before the Father. That's how the world recomposes itself. That's how the accuser loses the stage. That's how the road returns to saying what it always said. Worship the Lord your God and serve him only.